Yes.
We are.
So looks like our monitor up here doesn't have any input. But we just turned it off and on. We just noticed that. We probably should have noticed it before, unless it's supposed to be black. Okay.
Thank you. Kind of solid team, isn't it? When you look at it.
Well, good afternoon from Tucson, Arizona. Keno Stadium as MLS Preseason 2018 rolls on. The Portland Timbers and FC Dallas ready to go on this Saturday afternoon. The first of three matches here at Keno North Stadium today. Two Western Conference rivals. Friends and foes, you see Diego Valeri and Maxi Rudy embracing at midfield. Really quick, let's give the starting lineups for this match for the Portland Timbers. It is an 11 that we have seen for the most part this whole preseason, with one exception, Marco Farfan starting at left back. Jake Sivan alongside Ross Smith and Carter Baum, and Ross again, another pretty much first choice starting 11 for the Timbers.
Strong team that Coach Tavarese has put out there, and it's a team that showed well in the last match against Houston Dynamo. The building blocks, the things that we chatted to Coach Tavarese is he wants to see more flow and he wants to see more quality from his team. Now that quality might be tough at times. Obviously the guys are carrying heavy legs, but they expect them to build from that last match against Houston.
Jeff Adenella's in goal, Marco Farfan the left back, Liam Ridgewell, Larry Smabial the center backs, Elvis Powell the right back, David Guzman and Lawrence Olam in the midfield, Sebastian Blanco, Diego Valeri, Dairon Asprilla, as well Fernando Adi up top as an early offside called against FC Dallas. For FC Dallas, a team that has to play on Wednesday in the CCL in Panama against Toro FC, so this is their final tune-up really before their season gets going. About as close as a first choice starting 11, I think, as Oscar Pereira could put out at this point, Carter.
Absolutely. This is it. And this is ready to go.
Jesse Gonzalez is the goalkeeper, Anton Nedyalkov the left back, Reto Ziegler, Matt Hedges the center backs, Reggie Cannon is the right back, Carlos Grueza and Victor Ulloa the holding midfielders, Santiago Mosquera starts on the left wing, Mauro Diaz in the middle, Michael Barrios on the right, and Maxi Arruti up top.
Right away you can see the Timbers' willingness to press. That was something, again, we chatted to Coach Savarese yesterday. He said he was impressed with this game against Houston Dynamo, just how persistent the Timbers were. But then as well, getting the balance right in midfield. Pay particular attention to David Guzman and Lawrence Olam. When one goes up, as we see Guzman now pushing on to Gray, so just look at Olam's relationship, his angles, and how he drops off. That was one portion of many things that Coach Savarese needs to get drilled into the players in that identity, positional sense. You got to say, Carter, a battle I'm looking forward to seeing right away. Alvis Powell against new signing Mosquera, who we see on the ball right now. I imagine Alvis Powell, even though he's no slouch for pace, he's going to want to be as touch tight as possible, not letting the number 11 for FC Dallas run at him.
Absolutely. Finishing up his first week here with FC Dallas, Santiago Mosquera. We saw him just a little bit on Wednesday come on against the New England Revolution. Really dynamic in creating that second goal with a 70-yard run down the field. And then it's really his first time with a lot of these players really meshing into this lineup. And as you mentioned, this is it for FC Dallas. CCL on Wednesday, and they're ready to go. Oscar wants 45 to 55 minutes with these starters before resting the legs and getting his guys ready. The team flies back to Dallas tonight. They fly out to Panama on Monday, and it's all business from there. Preseason is over after today.
And how beneficial was that for Mosquera to come on and show his fitness levels look good, even though he came on around halftime, for him to make that run and that goal. If supporters haven't seen that, what a goal he scored, as you say, running 70 yards and still the awareness to lay the ball across the face of goal to Rudy.
Absolutely, and just one training session under his belt. Signed on Monday officially, got a little bit of time on Tuesday before the team left for Tucson, coming on. And you really saw what FC Dallas wanted to bring in his speed, his ability to, just the awareness on the field. Oscar was praising his ability to not only make that run and get past defenders, but then in the final 10 yards to be able to look up and find Max Rudy on the doorstep for the little tap-in.
Following the midfield on Victor Ulloa, Fernando Adi drawing the free kick. Timbers will get the big guys forward for first set-piece opportunity of this match. We've seen David Guzman pretty much exclusively taking set pieces like this when he's been in the match this preseason. It looks like it'll be him again. Guzman's service is headed clear by FC Dallas. Big switch from Alvis Powell. He's looking for Valeri. Mosquera back to defend. Did well to keep it with Dallas and then get around Valeri. Maxi Arruti, the former Timber, defended well by his former teammate Alvis Powell.
A nice sign, I'm sure, for Oscar Pereira when you see attacking players willing to get back and defend and then do something with the ball as well.
Oscar really wants all of his players to do everything on the field. He asks a lot from his players, especially those wingers getting back and, like you said, playing defensively, having that defensive mindset to help out on the back line. Mosquera with a nice repossession back there in the corner, and that's what you want to see. You want to see your wingers going up and down the field, and we've seen Dallas experiment with a little bit of the 3-5-2, trying to get that same methodology going in there into the formation.
High pressure from the Timbers wins the ball back. Dairon Esprilla taking it off Nedyalkov and out for a throw. That's what Giovanni Savarese has really been working on with this team in the preseason. Wants that high pressure. He wants the Timbers to win the ball back in that part of the field. Here's Blanco on the left. Has Farfan overlapping. Instead goes in the middle looking for Valeri. Dallas gets it out of the box, not clear yet.
Very similar to the goal that the Timbers scored against Seattle. Blanco down the left looking for Diego Valeri, who we found out last season can score goals with his head.
Yeah, he's been a target man when he gets into the box, those late runs. 5 headed goals last year of his 21. He hadn't scored with his head in his first 5 seasons in the league.
There's an air of intensity about this game coming in. And for FC Dallas, I imagine it is that tune-up, the final tune-up before they play their the CONCACAF game. And for the Timbers, just knowing you're a couple of weeks away from LA Galaxy, from the home opener, you begin to touch it a little bit more. You begin to taste those real competitive matches.
It's also something when you have two essential starting lineups against each other. A lot of times in preseason you're seeing mixed lineups, not necessarily everyone full bore. There's that excitement of seeing a MLS starting 11 on the opposing side of the field for the first time.
Asprilla coming down the right, cutting inside. Now Blanco thought about it from distance. Now he has it with the right, and it's wide of the net.
So one thing, seeing FC Dallas play in the last match against New England, the willingness to play out the back. A couple of times they were caught, but they continue to do that. Is that something you see a style shift for FC Dallas this year, looking to possess a little bit more where they were known last year more of the counter-attacking team, get behind the ball, make sure that you're closing all your gaps, and then as soon as you win it back, you're going with pace?
I think it's going to be a little mix of the two. I think you want to obviously play out of the back and build from the back, but absolutely this team is still a counter-attacking team. I don't think they're going to necessarily try and win the possession game every game. That's not how this team plays most of its time. It tried to start winning the possession game a little bit towards the end of last season with mixed results, but this is absolutely still a team that is going to try and stay compact, take care of things defensively, and then hit on a quick counter with those speedy wingers. You look at a guy like Santiago Mascara, brought in to do exactly that with the speed to counter Michael Barrios on the other side of the field. Two very speedy players to get down those wings and make a team pay for any slight mistake they make on the attack.
I guess how important is Mauro Diaz? A fully fit, full of form Mauro Diaz coming back in the team. Obviously struggled last year, coming off his Achilles injury at the end of 2016. How important it is for him to be a part of that going forward?
It's a huge piece for FC Dallas. We've seen at times over the course of the preseason, we've seen Mauro Diaz back to his full strength with set pieces, with everything, and there he is making a nice play to Maxi Rudy.
Yeah, there's Mascara getting onto it in the box, and he couldn't put it on goal. Mauro Diaz, he did have 8 assists in 19 matches, 13 starts last year coming back from that Achilles injury. You extrapolate that over a year. I mean, he's in the top 5 in assists in MLS if he gets 32, 34 games.
Absolutely. He came on, he had his moments, but what we're looking to see from Mauro Diaz this year, if I'm Oscar Pereira, is the full matches, the full fitness right from the get-go, and that's something I mentioned set pieces a minute ago. Set pieces were the one area that he's so prolific at that he was not quite able to find last season, and he already has 2 assists from set pieces in this short preseason.
Here's Maxi Rudy out wide to Michael Barrios.
Some good stuff, some great stuff. One touch pass in FC Dallas.
Now Mascara, new signing. Just joined the team a week ago, cuts inside. Here's Mauro Diaz.
You just look at the shape of the Timbers, and that's where you talk about preseason, understanding what the manager wants, how quickly they got back.
Reggie Cannon into the box, looking for a Rudy. He got there first, couldn't put it on frame, but that's probably the best chance of the first 10 minutes.
That's what Reggie Cannon brings to the table, even at 18 years old. The ability to overlap and make those runs, but knowing when to do it in the right moments. He doesn't always do it, but when he does, he knows he has it. He finds Maxi Rudy there, and Maxi just can't quite get that chip over the keeper.
Yeah, Marco Farfan left back. Starting today for the Timbers, he was a little bit lost there on an island 2v1. He needed more support. He needed somebody to come across. That's where you need a shout to understand, do you stick with the man on the ball or do you follow that runner overlapping, which was Reggie Cannon? It's very eerie in a way. I find similarities between Reggie Cannon and Alvis Powell, just the style of running and their play, and obviously their age as well, just being young players in this league looking to establish names.
Cannon, 19 years old, has played 1 minute in MLS, but looks to be the starter. Here's Alvis Powell, the nutmeg, and getting into the box. And then Nedyalkov getting fouled. Both the right backs getting into the attack.
Similar, both right backs, as we talk about stylistically, but also impressionally, just how influential they are in the game. And you can see just a nice little nutmeg from Alvis Powell. He's trying to get his strike away, but a strong block by Ziegler just coming across, the new signing center back for FC Dallas.
We saw Alvis Powell the end of last season, 2017, do some really good things getting forward. He scored a goal against DC, a great goal. And that was probably his best game in the attack of last season, causing problems on the right side. Here's Santiago Mosquera, just 23 years old, a young designated player. Already an assist here in the preseason on Wednesday in New England's 2-2, or Dallas's 2-2 draw with New England.
We talk about his influence, Mosquera. Same side as him. Asprilla going the other way for the Timbers. I thought he was very strong against Houston Dynamo. And this is a player who really needs to establish himself as a starter. And I thought he was the standout performer for me for the Timbers in the last match. The big question mark is consistency. Can you go again? And I think that will be in his mind. I showed well, I got myself a goal, and I influenced the game in positive ways going forward. But can I do it again? Can I make sure that the manager isn't thinking about the likes of an Andy Polo come that first game of the season?
Andy Polo, a TAM signing. But so far, it's been Dairon Asprilla getting the start, starting with this group that appears to be the first choice starting 11 as of now for Giovanni Savarese. And like you said, Ross, Dairon Asprilla doing all he could against Houston to stay in that starting 11.
Just as FC Dallas knocked the ball from one side to the next, they're trying to find openings. The Timbers pressing, doing a decent job in that midfield, marking Guerezo and Ulloa. But you watch the back line for the Timbers. Ridgewell and Mabiala doing a nice job of when to step. It's nice and straight right now. When to step in, but when to drop off as well. Maxi Rudy always willing to go in behind Carter.
This is what Dallas really wants, is some of that volume in the back, these short passes, not just one guy holding on, waiting to play that long ball. They want to move it around, create options, put it into the midfield, put it back to the back line. Just keep moving until you find that seam and find that one little gap, and then hit and run.
Requires a lot of patience defensively from the Timber standpoint.
Farfan steps up, but it's out for a throw. A totally revamped back line. I guess not totally, but 75% revamped.
And you're hoping a totally revamped back line. Matt Hedges said it himself at the end of last season, you know, there were a lot of difficulties on that back line.
Oh, Maxi Rudy giving it a go from distance. Jeff Fadanella having to make a good save. Maxi can hit it from there.
Maxi with a great shot there, but just to finish that thought, Matt Hedges saying himself he didn't like how he finished 2017, as did the rest of the team, but he's hoping this year can be a new leaf. And then you mentioned some of the new players coming in. Anton Nedyalkov on the left back, really a defensive-minded player who can get into the attack, but really defense first on that wing. And then Reto Ziegler, a guy who's been to 2 World Cups and played in 3 of the top 4 leagues in the world, bringing some of that veteran leadership along the back line. And he's playing a big role on defending set pieces and really keeping everything calm at the back for Dallas.
Here's Mosquera having to go 1-on-2. It'll be a deep throw for Dallas. Here's Mosquera. He was offside.
We could hear Liam Ridgewell from the press box here, from the booth, just screaming at guys, get up, get up. And you could see, even as tight as they were towards the end line, still trying to stay in line, stay connected, and force the offside. It's that organization that's so important and it's so helpful when you have a guy at the back. The captain, Liam Ridgewell, just a blunder here, though.
Yeah, he gets dispossessed. Here's Maxi Arudi. Arudi taking his time and finishing the opening goal of this match. Arudi taking advantage of the giveaway from the Timbers captain, Liam Ridgewell, and it's 1-0 Dallas.
Portland fans know just as well as anyone that's who Maxi Arudi is. Playing that high pressure, really forcing anything from the back line, really taking a nice feed from Michael Barrios there, and great elevation just to get that corner.
You can see right away with FC Dallas pressing up, as you mentioned, Liam Ridgewell caught on the ball, caught dwelling on the ball too long. You can't give that amount of time to FC Dallas, but what a strike from Arudi. Very little room to work with, and how with confidence we saw it a minute before, just a strike. Jeff Fadanella forcing to a good save, him just putting it top in. What a strike.
He can do that from a narrow angle, can't he? Maybe better than anybody in the league.
He's done it a few times, and he's really come into Dallas since leaving Portland via the re-entry draft 2 years ago, and he's led the team in scoring in both seasons and been a huge impact for this team. When you talk about the MLS re-entry draft, when you look at, you've got your leading scorer over the last 2 seasons from a re-entry draft. That's a huge piece for FC Dallas. Of course, trading up to that #1 spot in December 2015 to take him.
12 goals last year for Maxi Urruti, 9 the year before. It's been well documented, well discussed. The reason why the Timbers had to make him available is here is another giveaway in the back. Dallas causing a lot of problems. Timbers able to recover this time. It's been well documented that Timbers basically having to expose Maxi Urruti to that re-entry draft. They were unable to re-sign him after winning MLS Cup in 2015 because of the salary escalators in his deal. Just wouldn't have been doable under the salary cap. And he has thrived in Dallas.
And someone who technical director Fernando Clavillo has said the club is very close to re-signing to a multi-year extension. Obviously the ability last season, or the offer that came in for both Maxi Urruti and Michael Barrios, that's in the rearview mirror, and both of these players are committed to Dallas and really want to be a part of this team going forward. And you look to have that contract hopefully sealed up soon.
Valeri out wide to Farfan. Farfan's cross is blocked by Hedges. It's going to stay in play.
It was better from the Timbers though. And you look 17 minutes into the game. Very few touches for Fernando Adi and Diego Valeri. You need to get those guys going, that combination play working.
Oh, Diaz a touch around Ridgewell, who was able to recover.
And this is another man, David Guzman, getting him on the ball, making sure that he's keeping the rhythm of the game and that he's showing some courage in there. When the pressure's on right now, you've just conceded, a little nervy time to make sure you get a grip of the game.
He figures to be in Costa Rica's World Cup squad this summer. Possibly, probably, I'd say as it stands now, as a starter. Here's Blanco, good work to get around 3 Dallas defenders and a 4th. Cuts it back, Adi, now Esprilla. So patient from the Timbers. Now it's Guzman, and it's finally cleared by Dallas.
Really nice work by Anton Nedeljkov to stand up in the box there, stand his ground and not try and commit a penalty or overcommit there in the box, and really help that back line. That's what Dallas has really been working on over these last few games, is getting that communication, getting the movement of the back four just right, and you really saw it come to fruition right there.
Just wondered whether Esprilla could give in a shout to Adi to leave the ball, to allow it to go past him. Because from there, Esprilla was coming onto the ball. Adi's taking a touch. Eventually got to Esprilla. But as you mentioned, the left back for FC Dallas doing a nice job.
Barrios in a foot race with Farfan. Barrios is behind, has Urruti in the middle, plays it to him. Urruti got it caught up in his legs, and then Mabiala is able to send it away.
Injection of pace. We were talking pre-game just about Marco Farfan and how good he's looked in preseason and the sharpness, the quickness of him. Does he have that elite level pace? I think he does. I still think he has another couple of gears that we're waiting to see from the left back. But Barrios getting the better of him in that situation.
That's that speed that Dallas loves to play with down the wings. Almost unstoppable. No, doesn't matter who you are on the outside backs. If Michael Barrios is in full sprint at you, there's not a whole lot you can do.
14 assists last year for Barrios, 4th in MLS.
Adding that other facet to his game. We've known him as a goal scorer in previous years, but 14 assists last year. He had 4 in his previous 2 seasons combined for Dallas.
So now it's Diaz and Mascara over this. About 35 yards, 35 yards away. Diaz is going to go for goal. It's into the wall.
Something you'll need to look at as well. Fitness levels, of course. Just wonder if FC Dallas would be further along in their preparations, obviously, with a big game next week. But as well, the mentality of it. FC Dallas know 45 minutes likely is what we're told is the plan. So you know you can give a bit more, whereas the Timbers 60 to 75 minutes.
Powell coming down the right, early cross in, makes its way to Adi. And didn't get it to Valeri. It was defended well by Gruezo recovering.
Really solid work by Carlos Gruezo to come back and help out Reto Ziegler taking a fall in the box after stopping that ball. But That's one thing that Dallas maybe hasn't had over the first couple preseason games, is those defensive midfielders really getting all the way back into the box and helping out that back line. Really nice to see from Grueso there.
It's good from Powell there in that situation. Just thought Mabiala looked a little laboured. As he was going, Ridgewell stepping in, it was almost as though Mabiala needed to give a little bit more depth, but a non-event in the end with Powell's work.
Plenty of time for Jesse Gonzalez. Figures to be his second full season as a starter. 29 starts a year ago. Kind of finally winning that job from Chris Seitz. Made a highly publicized one-time switch from Mexico to the U.S. internationally. Hasn't been capped yet by the national team, but has been on a couple game day rosters.
Doesn't have to be capped, because you make that one-time switch.
Can't go back, right?
Can't go back.
Yep.
So he, not officially in a game, but he's a U.S. men's national team goalkeeper for the remainder of his career.
Just 22 years old. Certainly one of the names in the mix for being the next guy for the U.S. after Brad Guzan and Tim Howard finally at some point, when their careers come to an end, that question of who will be the next one, the next number one for the U.S.
Getting some time in the knockout stages of the Gold Cup with the national team as well last year really helped him grow more so off the field than on the field.
The big run down the right side by Michael Barrios, still there now for Dallas.
So it's a big test for Marco Farfan, and he showed his recovery speed there, not quite enough to get him back.
Barrios again, his shot blocked by Ridgewell. That will stay on the throw-in side of the corner flag. It'll be a deep throw for Dallas.
But positionally for the left back, it would be so important. So important for him to understand the depth that he needs to give when you have a guy like Barrios coming at you.
Barrios now listed at 5 feet 2 inches this year. It's a change, and that brings him into a tie with Christian Techera and João Plata for the shortest man in MLS.
Yeah, there was a big to-do made about that going into last season. In 2016, he was listed at 5'4",
yeah.
Corrected to 5'2" going into last year, and some fans in Dallas said, did he really shrink? Did he lose 2 inches? No, just
put in the wash.
A different tape measure maybe on Michael Barrios going into the season.
Those three guys, shortest in MLS history. Valeri over to Adi. Adi back towards Valeri. Nedyalkov recovering.
Another thing really interesting to watch with both Reto Ziegler and Anton Nedyalkov for Dallas is Oscar Pereira talking about the game against New England was so huge for them to finally see some MLS talent, see the caliber of this league, the physicality of it, and really get a taste for it. So that's another thing he's looking for from those two specifically in this 45 minutes today.
Yeah, so like we've talked about earlier, this is starting lineup versus starting lineup essentially. An opportunity for those guys to learn about some players in the league. Diego Valeri, the MVP of the league, Fernando Adi, etc. Blanco to Olam. Yeah, flick towards Adi. Might end up with a Spria. That's a good chance. He couldn't put it on frame.
It was good combination play from the Timbers standpoint. Too many gaps for FC Dallas defensively, but for the Timbers they worked it nicely. Just ball into Adi, and for Spria, just couldn't get his balance right. He's cut far too much across the ball. Just get another look as the Timbers just knocking around trying to find the space. Olam completely unmarked, and Adi, he does very well. Just puts the defender on his back and he sets it up for Spria. Whether he was thrown off just slightly by Ziegler coming across.
Adi leaves for Valeri. Valeri knocked off the ball well by Grueso.
That was better from Farfan. Immediately when when Barrios knocked it off, Farfan just got on his bike and made sure he got back into position. It's that reaction against a guy like Barrios. If you hesitate for a second, wondering, should I step, should I go, you're in trouble.
Liam Ridgewell's going to go right now. Coming forward, not afraid. Adi battling, and it's a goal kick.
Captain does well, Carter. I wanted to ask you that question. How important is him? You talk about the defensive line. For him to have a return to form season.
It's absolutely crucial for Matt Hedges to get back to that national team caliber defender like we saw Defender of the Year 2 years ago. We talked about maybe his struggles over the last half of last season, along with several other players on the team, but he's crucial, especially with so many new pieces to that back line, to really glue everything together over the course of an MLS year. Again,
it's Barrios getting behind on the right side and headed out for another Dallas throw.
Remember the first instance of the match when Cannon has come down that right-hand side and Farfan 2v1. Well, you saw there, Guzman got himself across, made it a 2v2. So Farfan has held Barrios up, but then he sees the overlap from Cannon, but he has Guzman coming in. That's the difference when you talk about organizing your team, is getting things right and helping one another out defensively.
Rudy trying to turn, dispossessed by Guzman. Timbers will try to counter, but it's broken up by Victor Ulloa. Now here's Mauro Diaz. He's going to go 1-on-2. He's dispossessed by Lawrence Olam. Here comes Guzman. Big run by Guzman, finds Adi. Adi cuts inside. Tried to get it back to Guzman, and it was broken up.
He never looked quite certain, Adi. With his run when Guzman got on the ball and when he was on the ball, there was more options for him. He was searching around for it rather than go himself.
Sebastian Blanco has Farfan overlapping. Farfan couldn't keep it in play, I don't think. It's out for a goal kick.
It's that last little bit that Reggie Cannon needs there right back, is recognizing that overlap just a half step sooner, a half step behind, allowing that cross to come in. That's that next step for him. He's got the mentality to be an MLS starter in this league. It's just those couple little speed levels, challenge levels to really become an MLS starter at just 19 years old.
It's one of those as a defender, when you realize you're caught, you think, where's the end line? Come on, end line. Get out for a goal kick.
Yes.
Fortunate for Cannon in that instance, the end line came.
He's a homegrown, one of many on this Dallas team.
A nice even 10 on the Dallas roster.
It's every year when you look at the rosters around the league, it's always remarkable the homegrown talent that FC Dallas has. We've got a few starting today. Victor Ulloa, Jesse Gonzalez, Reggie Cannon. Guzman goes through the back of the ankle of Mauro Diaz to win it. It's a foul.
Tell you, Rudy, in that instance, his movement was so good. One for the line, one for the space in behind as though he was going to go, so he pushed Ridgewell Mabiala back, and then he came back into that pocket. The type of striker you talk about, always playing on the shoulder. Even now, he's standing in an offside position, but he's well aware of that distance. That's where it's a fun battle to watch with it, because for Ridgewell, understanding how high up do you go when to drop in.
That's something that Rudy helped really take advantage of during the team's preseason game in Chattanooga. There was a set piece from Mauro Diaz from probably 45 yards out. Rudy stood in a way offside position, but really just serving as a distractionary method. And Matt Hedges was able to get in behind the back line and connect on a header. And that's what you want from your striker. Not always on the ball, but your off the ball movements that help the team out as well.
Diaz trying to find Mascara. It's over Powell's head. Mascara might be able to run this down. He's unable to. Adi going over the back of Nedyalkov.
Nedyalkov holding the back of his leg there. He's been dealing with a little bit of tightness in his Achilles over the last few days. Held out at training yesterday, just really saving him for a good 45 minutes today. I think more of a stinger than anything there, but definitely something to keep an eye on, as you don't want to lose anyone to injury just 4 days before a CCL matchup in Panama City.
I actually don't see a whole lot wrong with that challenge. The ball's there to be won. Addy's referencing the ball. Both players would just get another look. See Addy coming in. Maybe just the back.
Anton Nedyalkov, one of a few international signings for FC Dallas this offseason. He's Bulgarian. Has played his entire previous career in Bulgaria. 5 caps with the national team. Figures to be the left back for Dallas this season. He looks all right after taking that from Fernando Adi, but he gives it away.
That's the ball. Just seen Valeri standing in that open space. It needed somebody to recognize him. We talked with Coach Savarese yesterday, and individually the intelligence that he has amongst his players, and he's talked about Valeri amongst many of his players, but he said what he liked is when the ball's on one side, how Valeri understands to go opposite at times, to have that patience, and where all the attention goes down one side of the pitch. Just look at Valeri, he's always popping up in other areas. Just how early he can see the play develop.
Ziegler going over the back of Adi. This time he's called for the foul. The set piece now for the Timbers is the center backs Ridgewell and Mabiala will come forward.
It's a good battle to watch between Fernando Adi and Ziegler. As you mentioned before, Carter, Swiss international guy, has a great resume. Played with Spurs, Tottenham Hotspurs before in his time, so we've seen some top strikers along his career.
He's played in the Premier League, played in Serie A, a couple games in Bundesliga.
18 years old when he debuted at Tottenham and was an important player for them at such a young age. Oh, this is straight from the training ground. Asprilla was offside. We've seen the Timbers work on some set pieces against Houston on Wednesday, and again today. That one almost came off.
I think what you will find is a solid line from FC Dallas, but clever from the Timbers. As you mentioned, we've seen a few different permutations of tricky free kick set piece plays from the Timbers. I think what that does then, it puts such an element of doubt in the opposition. When you do your scouting, you know that they're always capable of something instead of just putting the ball into an area, which has its place, of course, as well when you've got big guys like Adi. Ridgewell's always good for a couple of goals. Mabiala coming into the team. But now and again, you throw something different at the defense. It just keeps them on their toes.
And with Lawrence Olam out there as well in the starting 11, there are some targets in the box. Olam stepping up to win it back for the Timbers. Valeri finally settles it. Blanco does well to get around Nedyalkov. And again, Blanco inside, looking for Asprilla in the box, leaves for Olam, and his volley's over the bar.
Well, it's set up nicely for Olam. Good knockdown, head down from Asprilla, but Olam, he's got to get across this ball. That's what he's trying to do, because he's probably level with the outside post, maybe just a little bit past. And so you can see his body shape here. He's trying to get round that ball, and he just cuts a little bit too much underneath it. It's one of those, he catch it right, it's going top in, everybody's talking about it. Get it slightly off, the ball's ending up where it did.
turns. Wide to Mascara. Barrios just offside. And Timbers fortunate at that.
Nice little touch nonetheless past the keeper, but just offside. Playing it back to Jesse Gonzalez. Jesse looking for that long ball, but Barrios just a little bit too eager there.
Thought it was a good line. So much fortunate the referee is up to par and the linesman is keeping up with the line because it was very close, but it was offside.
Guzman, back post. Overati's head might fall for Asprilla. Cannon trying to get it clear. He can't. Here's Farfan. Now Valeri. Over to Guzman. Guzman the drive. And Gonzalez getting down well.
Easy enough save in the end from Gonzalez, but worth a hit from Guzman. Just didn't quite have enough power on it to really trouble the goalkeeper for FC Dallas, but they work it well, and when it does come back to Guzman, used to be the last chance from Asprilla. But Guzman, you can hit him from distance, it's just getting them on frame.
Ulloa to Diaz. Ridgewell broke up the first and the second. Rudy still pressuring. Now has to do all he can to try to get it clear. Only as far as Grueso. Diaz on side. Now Rudy. Barrios.
Well done for Farfan. It's one of those, you don't look at the hits, you don't look at the dancing, just keep your eyes on the ball.
Barrios again. Oh, nice 1-2 with Grueso. Arudi, he has a second, a first half brace for Maxi Arudi. Dallas is up 2-0.
You really like to see that combination down the wing. Barrios trying to go in on Farfan. Farfan holding his ground, going back out, working with Reggie Cannon, working with Mauro Diaz, working it back in. Beautiful ball. Nice little touch there from Carlos Grueso. And he finds Maxi Rudy right there at the top of the sixth.
Just the left side of the defense from the Timber standpoint, the switch off. Just gave Farfan a compliment, just seeing Barrios out, but you still got to track him. And if it's not going to be you, you got to make sure that you pass him on, or that your center back Ridgewell comes across, that one of you two are tracking him.
It's 2 goals for Maxi Arudi, 2 assists for Michael Barrios. Certainly what Dallas will like to see. What, just 4 days before their de facto season opener. First leg of the CCL round of 16 with Toro FC in Panama. Guzman brings down Diaz.
It's a goal I'd want to see again as well for FC Dallas, popping it into Barrios. So much time that when that ball's going in and Barrios is running off, you need to be able to stop that right there. At it said, yeah, you got to track the runner from Barrios, but where's the defender coming across to make sure that ball's not going into him? Also think what we have to remember is, from the Timber standpoint, Carter will be interested to hear your thoughts, FC Dallas, but it's not as though these guys are fresh. That we know from seeing the guys around the hotel, they're carrying soreness in their legs. It's preseason, still 2 weeks away from the Timber standpoint. It's not as though they're just laying off training to make sure they're as fresh as daisies coming into these matches. Yeah, so those extra couple yards, those will come. But right now, there's tiredness on the team, which you can understand before the match even started.
Both these teams have played a lot recently. This Timbers group essentially played 65 minutes on Wednesday. Here's Barrios again. Did that take a deflection? It did not. It's a goal kick. Dallas has been playing both kind of an official game on Wednesday against New England, and then a couple kind of reserve scrimmages, kind of off the book scrimmages. One against the Timbers on Thursday. Marco Farfan played in that one, so even though Farfan didn't get 60 minutes on Wednesday, he still has a lot in his legs from the past few days.
Yeah, the plan really for Dallas to get as much as you can out of a full 90 minutes on Wednesday, really get a full lung test for some of these guys, and then just a nice little run out today, a nice little 45 minutes to keep the legs fresh, work on those last little things, and then get out of the game, get rested, get back to Dallas, and get ready, because we're 4 days out. You got a long trip to Panama City coming up on Monday. A lot of things on your radar, maybe 1 or 2 practices for the team in between there, but this is it. This is your last test for most of these 11 guys on the field.
And we expect to see essentially a line change from Dallas at halftime. For the Timbers, that won't happen until well into the second half.
Just seeing out the half. FC Dallas putting the foot on the ball, just trying to take the air out of things, it seems. We're finding their openings, as you suggested earlier, being able to have confidence in their possession style game.
Really working on getting numbers on the ball, working on keeping that triangle around the ball where the person on the ball always has outlets, always has options, always has someone coming in to support him.
Arrudi lets it run on for Barrios. They're looking for a third. It might be a hat trick for Maxi Arrudi. He's around Adanella. Takes his time. Timbers are going to get this clear. Barrios, Arrudi, they have been active this first half.
Just standing on the end line there, not really sure what to do. Decided, I'll just flip it back into the box, see what happens.
His first touch let him down.
Yeah.
And then it coming in took him away from goal.
Blanco into Adi. Valeri cuts inside around Barrios, into Adi, back to Valeri. His shot is blocked.
I was interested in the preparations and chat about FC Dallas, whereas last year they went to Argentina. This year stay close to Chattanooga, obviously Tucson, their trips. But for the Timbers standpoint, the double sessions, the intensity of training sessions is what has stood out to me, and the need from Coach Savarese for the team to play all one-touch passing, to be as intense as possible for the duration of the training sessions. And the guys, I think Coach Savarese has said he's been very pleased with how they've responded, and the variations of training sessions as well that I've seen. I haven't seen a repeat in an exercise so far in the 2 weeks that I've been physically at the Timbers training. So we show in so many different angles of a training session. That keeps you fresh as a player when you get to the training ground and you don't quite know what the manager has in store for you, that he's always teaching and you're always learning things. FC Dallas, though, their preparation, Carter, look pretty decent.
Yeah, these are two teams really in different phases. Dallas ready to go really at the start of the season, something you expect to see from Portland a week and a half from now. You have a team ready to play. You have a team, like you mentioned, doing 2 days, really in the grind. This is the end of it for Dallas. They had 2 weeks of heavy 2 days going in Frisco, and then they got into what Oscar Pereja calls the game mode, playing a couple different games a week, really getting the action going and getting ready for CCL and for MLS play, a compacted schedule, if you will, in the preseason.
It's 2-0 at halftime. Let's take a look at the first half highlights. Both goals for FC Dallas coming through Maxi Arrudi. Here's the first after Michael Barrios took it off of Liam Ridgewell.
Really just a beautiful chip for Maxi Rudy there, the confidence to find that upper right-hand corner over Jeff Antonella.
You look how little space he has to work that goal as well. Puts his boot right through it, right into the top bin. But then the Timbers responded in the best chance from Tyrone Asprilla. Good interchange play into Fernando Adi off to Asprilla. Second opportunity, Gonzalez, he does well to get out quickly, but then FC Dallas again.
Yeah, this is the 38th minute. It's a Rudy's second.
Just a nice little back heel, nice little touch from Michael Barrios. Those two have worked together for going on 3 years now, and you can tell right away.
2 goals for Maxi Rudy, 2 assists for Michael Barrios. The final tune-up before the CCL for FC Dallas. 1/2 from their starters. Oscar Pareja, I think, will be pretty pleased about how his team set up before Wednesday's match in Panama. We'll probably see a full-scale change from Dallas in the second half. The Timbers will get their starters for a little bit longer. We'll be back for the second half kick at halftime. FC Dallas 2, Portland Timbers 0 from Tucson. Welcome back to Tucson, Arizona. Second half of the Portland Timbers and FC Dallas underway. FC Dallas 2-0 at halftime, but they have made wholesale substitutions. The Timbers have made 2. Dallas has made 11. For the Timbers, David Guzman and Marco Farfan have come out of the match. Christian Paredes and Vitas have come in. For FC Dallas, a new 11 as they have a game in the CCL on Wednesday. It was always the plan to play their starters 45 minutes. They'll certainly be pleased with the way things went. Elvis Powell into Adi in the box. Adi trying to get a shot off. He does. And Jimmy Marr, the goalkeeper for Dallas this second half, gets on it. So here's the lineup for FC Dallas in this second half. Jimmy Marr is the goalkeeper. Ryan Hollingshead, the left back. Minor Figueroa, Jordan Cano are the center backs. Chris Reeves, the right back. Kellen Acosta, Ja'Cory Hayes in the holding midfield. Roland Lama on the left. Paxton Pomykal, the number 10. Tesho Akindele looks to be on the right. Christian Coleman up top for Oscar Pareja.
Really a consistent look with what we've seen from FC Dallas and kind of what they're dubbing reserve matches, a second-tier lineup. You have Ryan Hollingshead on the left, and one thing to watch for him is as the match goes on, Oscar can bring on some different players, and Ryan will transition into more of a wing-back role, a guy who's played both left back and left winger. They really like him in that role, and you can shift from a 4-2-3-1 to a 3-5-2 almost in the course of a half. Back and forth, Dallas might be able to shift. You have a couple of homegrowns out there in Jordan Cano and Chris Reeves. Chris Reeves able to play in the middle or on the right. I personally like him a little more on the right. Jordan Cano in there with Minor Figueroa, kind of your veteran presence on the back line. And then Kellen Acosta getting some time here. He played 35 minutes in a scrimmage yesterday against the University of Arizona club men's soccer team, really getting some minutes. He's been fighting kind of a little bit of a nagging groin pain, Kellen Acosta there, but good to see him get some more minutes today, really get worked up and up to speed. And some fans have had some questions about where he's at, both mentally and physically, and he's just working his way back. It's more of a longer term plan with Kellen Acosta to get him ready to go for Wednesday and beyond, rather than play him for a full 45 right off the bat.
It was a good looking ball there from Acosta. Reeves, though, couldn't handle it. Timbers will try to counter. Polanco over to Asprilla. It's off the hands of Ja'Cory Hayes.
That first half wasn't quite happening for Daimon Asprilla, but what I did like, he was always looking to grind it out. He was always looking for the ball and then try and work his way into the game, which is so important when things aren't quite going for you. They're not going to go for you perfectly for the entire duration of the season, but you got to work your way into games. Last thing you want is players hiding from the ball, players to go missing.
Powell steps inside. Broken up.
Thought Elvis Powell had a solid half. All the talk about Mosquera, the new signing for FC Dallas. I thought he did a decent job just looking after the left winger for FC Dallas.
Really contained that speed. Mosquera had a couple touches on the ball, a couple quick chances, but nothing that we saw against New England on Wednesday. No 70-yard runs, no blowing past some defenders. Really nice job to contain him, and continuing to bring Mosquera into the starting lineup for FC Dallas. Really still trying to mesh with some of his new teammates.
I think what you look for now, Paredes, who's come in for the Timbers, number 22, just in the middle of the park. Look for him getting on the ball. I think he's so silky. What I've seen in training, he's so smooth, and just the way he looks after the ball and keeps your team ticking over. But then defensively, interested to see his positional sense with Lawrence Holm just work in the middle of the park.
Ja'Cory Hayes wide to Chris Reeves. Reeves, a homegrown signing for FC Dallas. Spent the last 2 seasons at the University of Portland.
He actually played before that at Wake Forest with Ja'Cory Hayes for 2 seasons before transferring to University of Portland. But Chris Reeves saying his time in Portland really helped him because it's not a football first school or a football heavy or other sport heavy school like maybe some of the East Coast schools are, he was really able to focus on soccer, build his class schedule around the ability to train and work on some time and spend some extra time on the field that helped him take his game to the next level.
There's Tesho Akintelli putting it off the bar. It was Reeves awkwardly there getting it to Akintelli. He went crashing into Vitas.
And Reeves played center back at the University of Portland. He's played both center back and right back throughout the preseason, played on the right during his time with the FC Dallas Academy, and I think the coaching staff really likes him as kind of that depth right back role behind Reggie Cannon. You have two homegrowns as your top guys on the right now.
Reeves does well to hold off Adi there. Now Kellen Acosta. Behind for Reeves. Gets into the box. Palmy call out to Acosta. Paxton Palmy call. And Akintelli was offside.
Really nice ball from Paxton. Just a little bit too heavy, but that's what you see really transitioning into a number 10 role, a pure number 10 role, something we've seen him do with the FC Dallas U19 Academy throughout the last few years, but playing on the wing a little bit in his brief MLS time last year, he's going to be that guy behind Mauro Diaz in the middle in 2018.
It's a player I was looking forward to seeing today in person. Remembering that Sporting Kansas City match, he played away from home as well, which I was impressed with the youngster, the maturity he showed, so can understand why he would be looked upon to be that replacement number 10.
He's the youngest player in FC Dallas history, right, when he started that match, just over 17 years old.
Started that, was 17 years old. Jesus Ferreira took it away from him just a few months later. Became the second youngest player to score an MLS goal, and there's a guy by the name of Brian Reynolds back home in Frisco who still has about a year to take that title from Jesus Ferreira, a full year younger than both Ferreira and Palmical.
Well, this will be dangerous for the Timbers as Asprilla goes down.
It was good from Asprilla. Again, talking about him finding a way in the game. Gets on the ball, doesn't have many options around him. You can see that there's the red kits coming towards, but he gets something out of it. It's a good area for a free kick. It looks to be the number 8.
Saw a free kick in a similar spot against Houston. David Guzman took it. Guzman's not in the match, subbed out at halftime for Paredes. And so you would assume this is certainly Diego Valeri's all day, the MVP of the league.
You would assume it's his day every day from that area of the pitch, that it's the MVP of the league getting on top of the ball.
There is Valeri, and it's just over the bar. Got it over the wall. Couldn't get it to dip quick enough.
Still preseason. Still working on it.
It looked like it had the angle for it, but just going too high over the wall. I sometimes do think, you often do hear the up and down. Well, you almost don't need it to come down again. If you're getting it just right over the wall, as long as it's maintaining that height, you can find it right into the corner. Referee just wanting a little discussion between Kellen Acosta and Hayes.
Remy Touchon, the referee today. Ridgewell took a knock, maybe a high arm from Christian Coleman.
That's another one, Carter, with Coleman. I thought this guy, obviously big signing, a lot of money put into this guy to come into FC Dallas. Didn't really come off last year, 2 goals, but I asked you this offline. I wonder how much would it have changed if he had scored. He had a big chance in the CONCACAF semi-final match, second leg. If he had scored that, which he should have done, what that would have done for his confidence. Would it have changed his season? I know we're trying to predict and we're trying to guess at what would have been, but how do you rate Coleman?
I definitely think that's a late confidence boost. He did have a couple goals early in CCL play, but on a stage like that in Pachuca, not only does it maybe change his season, it changes FC Dallas's outlook, because then you're looking at a team that's most likely into the CCL final. You know, he misses that chance. Pachuca goes back the other way, scores 2 late goals, and takes that whole series. If he converts on that goal, and that's a whole different game, whole different series, maybe a whole different Christian Coleman in 2017. But he just needs that confidence. He needs that chance, and he had 2 goals in an away game in Montreal last year, right at the time when the team started to take their dip over the second half of the season. And he's got to get that confidence up here going into 2018. 2 goals in a little scrimmage yesterday, really working on doing what, or bringing what he does on the training field into gameplay.
Here is Christian Coleman getting past Liam Ridgewell. Nobody there in the middle for him. Now Elvis Powell will bring the ball forward for Portland. Around Hayes, towards Valeri. Figueroa got there first.
Just about a good ball.
Mabiala, Pomykal getting caught up, foul on Mabiala. Paredes wins it for the Timbers in the midfield. Acosta did a nice job of recovering. Diego Valeri coming forward. Blanco making a run as well. Good ball from Valeri. Blanco looked to be in, and it was too wide of the net for a goal and too far ahead of Fernando Wadi for an assist.
It was so well done from Blanco, and he showed a turn of pace, showed a little bit of freshness as he's the initial one to give it to Valeri. He had to push off of Rees because Rees was trying to track him, and Blanco goes beyond him, picks his head up. He just needs that runner to catch up to him. It was Addy in between the sticks, but could say a little bit too far ahead of Addy, or Addy wasn't quite up to speed with that ball. That should have been a tap in for him if he was.
Kellen Acosta making that tracking back run, but Jordan Cano getting a real quick glimpse there at 2 of the best attacking players in MLS, and welcome to the league, Jordan Cano. But just really kind of that hesitation to either run with him or stay and try and prevent that ball. And that's that next step that we talk about a lot of times for a lot of these rookies, is realizing the level you're playing on.
Yeah.
So we have video review here in Tucson. The referees using this as an opportunity, just like the players, just like the teams, to get ready for the season. Rami Toussaint now with his finger to his ear. That means that he was in a check. He was talking with his VAR, his video assistant referee, who was looking at something on review. And Rami Toussaint there, as you see, saying play on, deciding that a review was not needed, but clearly taking a look at something there.
What I did wonder, again, from what I saw, is Blanco, his run when he was trying to push off Rees. His hit.
Oh, Lamont now in. Adanella off his line. Gets enough on it to keep it away from Lamont.
We saw Blanco just a hand to face almost to Reeves as he was pushing off. Whether that was or not, we've got nothing coming through in our ear to be definitive on what the referee was checking. But I just saw that on the last chance for the Timbers.
Has to be a clear and obvious error for video review to come into play. As we saw last year, and I think maybe, I don't know if confused is the right word, but people weren't necessarily clear on, is that you're not going to see referees going to the monitor just to double check something, just to clarify, to get another look. It's going to have to be the fifth official, the video assistant referee, is going to have to say, this happened, this is clear. You've got to now take a look. Powell into the box. Figueroa's clearance stays with Dallas.
And that needs to be better from Powell, because you can quite clearly see when you don't put off a good cross, you don't miss that front man, all of a sudden the opposition, FC Dallas, they're coming right back down your throats. But right now, just seen Blanco, he's wanting on the ball. Obviously, he's had a good spell the last couple of minutes. Just always think when you're in that good spell, the recognition of a team to get the ball to that player.
He has both of Portland's assists this preseason, for Asprilla on Wednesday against Houston and for Valeri 2 weeks ago against Seattle. Good combination from Dallas. Springs Coleman down the right. Mabiala trying to catch up. He does well to do so.
A really nice job by Ja'Cory Hayes to take that tackle in the midfield, get it to Pomykal. A nice one-touch play out to Coleman on the wing. Really good combination there. And Ja'Cory Hayes, as they say in hockey, taking a hit to make a play there.
The Timbers are going to make a substitution at goalkeeper. Jeff Adanella gets just about 60 minutes. Jake Gleason will get the last 30. Gleason played the full 90 against Houston on Wednesday. Adanella was out with a very precautionary quad. We expect to see many more changes from the Timbers over the next 15 minutes or so.
And for Dallas, they made a full-sale change at halftime, but you still have 6 players on your bench eligible to come in, warming up right now. A lot of these guys have played over the last 2 days, so I think around the 70-75 minute mark you might see some of these other guys come on as well.
Ridgewell picks out Blanco on the left. Hadi took a little bit of a loose touch.
The ball holding up a little bit windy it looks to be on the pitch for the players.
It's not raining though, that's the important thing for FC Dallas. It's been raining all 3 days that they've been out here in Tucson.
Yeah, last 3 days, Wednesday through Friday, it felt more like Portland than Tucson weather-wise.
And the irony is it was 70 degrees and sunny back home in Dallas, so they came out here to get away from some of the cool weather and get into the sun, and it was sunny and warm back home while it was rainy and cool here.
First 2 weeks, Timbers were down here in the 80s and sunny. Weather it was hot. It's been a little colder, not quite as ideal. The second stint for Portland. Powell into the box, sent clear. He might get another chance. Puts it on the ground back for Valeri. Acosta broke it up, and it will be out for a goal kick.
Don't know if we see it on camera, but not something you see a whole lot in MLS play. Maxi Rudy's down here behind the Portland Timbers bench talking to some of his old friends, just catching up.
He's been hanging out in
popping
the team.
up a few places,
popping up at media days.
Yeah.
Both teams staying in the same hotel here in Tucson. Maxi, of course, played for the Timbers on the MLS Cup team. Good friends with a lot of the guys still around. He was such a personality on that team in 2015. Played for the Timbers for parts of 3 seasons, basically 2.5. And the word is he'd been following around some of his old pals, Diego Chara, Diego Valeri, in the team hotel. Both teams are staying during the Timbers Media Day a couple days ago, where Timbers players had to go through the gamut of taking pictures and shooting videos and all the like. Back in Delhi, trying to get into the box, Vitas bumps him off the ball. But yeah, Maxi Rudy having a chat with Diego Chara now on the bench. Chara still working back from foot surgery. Broke the foot, of course, in the first leg of the Western Conference semis in Houston. Seems to be coming along really well. Every time we talk to him, he says, yeah, feeling good. Always has a smile on his face. Has been integrating a little bit more into training. I don't think he's quite yet ready for game minutes, but the Timbers, of course, taking it very slow, very cautious with Diego Chara.
You have to say he has looked very fit as well. His work
Blanco trying to slide it in for Esprilla. Paredes, the follow-up volleys over the bar.
His work with the Timber staff on the side, he's been looking very sharp. They're working him hard, and so fitness doesn't look to be an issue. Match fitness, yes, but around the training grounds, and the guy, he can run for days, as everybody knows about him. But this is another player, Jake, I'm looking forward to seeing in a match situation, because he looks like he's got a good soccer brain about him and a good touch.
The player you're speaking of, Ross, is Samuel Armenteros with the fourth official. I believe they're just waiting for Rami Touchon to see that the Timbers want to make a sub. Looks like it's going to be Dairon Esprilla coming out for Samuel Armenteros. So this will be an interesting look from Portland with Armenteros and Adi in the match together. Armenteros, a TAM signing, making his official debut, preseason debut for the Timbers. He played in that kind of closed-door, informal scrimmage against Dallas on Thursday. But this is the first time in kind of a real game in the preseason. And we see the Timbers go with two up top now with Armenteros and Fernando Adi.
Provided a very lighthearted moment in that reserve friendly on Thursday as well, going for the bicycle kick at the top of the six, whiffing, landing on his back, and then being called for the handball as the ball fell on his chest.
He almost had it. Lama is behind. Akintelli in there. Oh, just beyond Akintelli. That was dangerous with the goal open. And Blanco draws the foul.
Lamar done so well. He showed his pace, his turner pace over Powell, who doesn't very often get beat for speed, but you have to say the fullback Vitas, he tucked in well. A big part Vitas played there not to allow FC Dallas another goal.
Akintelli was in the right spot in the box, but just couldn't get a heel flick on it. Went right between his legs and through the other side.
Palmy call through for Coleman. Gleason has to come off his line. Paredes caught Hollingshead as he was coming forward. Referee played on, but Hollingshead stays down. There's Oscar Pareja. 2016. No, it's not Oscar Pareja. Never mind. I took a quick look and
saw the logo.
Yeah, saw the logo. That is not Oscar Pareja. That is one of his assistants, Josema Bassam. But Oscar Pareja, 2016 Coach of the Year. Carter, he led his team led FC Dallas to such a great season then when they won the Supporters Shield. Back-to-back 60-point seasons in 2015 and 2016, and of course last year a disappointment for FC Dallas. How has Oscar Pareja and this group specifically kind of handled that and handled the aftermath of certainly must have been a disappointing few months for Dallas?
It's definitely turning over a new leaf, looking ahead to 2018. You had a very tumultuous 2017 where you go to the semifinals of CONCACAF Champions League. You're 5 minutes away from potentially advancing, like we discussed earlier, and then you start off the season, you're one of the top teams in MLS, you have one of the best defenses in MLS, and then over the second half, it's just one thing after another, from injuries to international call-ups to a break here, a break there, everything really kind of a perfect storm. You have some of your best players fall out of form, and this is a new start for this entire club. You have the players that are returning who are using that season out of the playoffs, watching other teams play as motivation to not let that happen again. This is a team that made the playoffs in the previous 3 seasons, and not a lot of these guys have been through that. And then you have a lot of new faces, especially on the back line, who are coming in to really be some fresh blood and to really try and turn that around, especially on the back end of things where the team struggled towards the end of 2017.
So Dallas will make the sub. Hollingshead will not continue. Amir Sasivarevich will come on. He's a third-round pick of FC Dallas, unsigned, but has been in preseason camp with them. Played for Grand Canyon University just up the road in Phoenix. Here's Armenteros, really first time on the ball, flicking it over the top, nobody making the run.
If you look at the Timbers, since they've made the change with Espria coming off, Armenteros coming onto the pitch. Two up front, as you mentioned, looks to be more like a diamond in the midfield from the Timbers. Lawrence Olem at the base of it. You got Blanco to the left of him, Paredes on the right end, Diego Valeri just at the top of that diamond. And so much talk about Coach Giovanni Savarese, that he's willing to change tactically during the game, and this is a different look that the Timbers haven't really seen him play much.
Oh, here's Armenteros. He is through, and Samuel Armenteros has his first goal on his first chance as a Portland Timber in the preseason.
And you can see the benefits right away. Tactically, since change, Armenteros coming on is the superiority in numbers through that midfield, that the Timbers are able to find extra bodies, and there Armenteros, what a run by him, and the vision from Valeri just to pick up his head on the half turn. He just needs to lay it into his path, and from there Armenteros just needs to pick his corner. Good goal.
Sasaverovic fresh off the bench, still finding his legs in the match, really can't deal with that speed there coming off the wing. Gets caught, and a really nice finish from Portland.
Samuel Armenteros, a goal scorer. That's what he's here for. That's what he's done. He scored 22 goals in 32 matches in last season, the 2016 to 2017 season for Heracles in the Eredivisie in Netherlands. That's all competitions. Made a move to Serie A, Benevento, the worst team in Serie A, and didn't have a great first half of the season. Only got 9 matches, scored 1 goal on a team that lost 14 in a row to start the Serie A season. It was not a good situation for him, and he's made the move now in the winter transfer window to Portland. And Timbers will love that goal scoring. He might have a chance for another. Oh, it'll be Adi, the other striker. Tackled from behind by Chris Reeves. It was clean. Adi's down as Marr was able to recover.
Really nice tackle by Chris Reeves. They're having the confidence to go back in the box, make that tackle, save a scoring chance, and not take a card or give up a PK there as well.
Good solid challenge, I thought, as well, from Reeves just coming back across. Just thought Adi allowed him the opportunity to come back into it. Didn't release his strike as quickly as he would have liked, but the Timbers working the play. Starts just about the halfway line again from Armenteros. He's silky. He's got a nice touch on him. And then he's showing more and more a turn of pace. He's maybe not going to beat guys over 50 yards, but what he will do is the quickness for him to get away from guys, and then how clever he is.
And the finish is what you want, right? I mean, he gets one chance and he puts it away.
The finish, but then also the link-up play, the combination play. You talk about other areas of his game, and he showed it there. His awareness when he got beyond FC Dallas defender to lay it off to Valeri, then all of a sudden the Timbers were going down on goal. It's been a difference, been a big difference since Armenteros has come on, not only for him and his play, but the shape of the Timbers. Just saw when Hollingshead did go down, Coach Savarese having a chat with Vitesse about his positioning here is what I assume to be, and him getting further up. If you're going to have all the players congested, what we see right now for the Timbers, middle of the pitch, it allows that the fullbacks Vitesse and Powell, that space to get it on.
Armenteros there a little ahead of Valeri. Timbers get it back.
Now, Carter, it's about FC Dallas figuring things out with the formation change of the Timbers.
Figuring things out, and you have so many guys on this field trying to put themselves into the mix for not only making the trip to Panama, but also making this roster in the case of Emir Sasaverovic on the left.
Powell is behind. He's up against Sasaverovic. Powell does well to get around him, keep it in play. Back towards Paredes. That was probably not the ball that he wanted, and Palmikal's able to win it back for Dallas.
Didn't come off for the Timbers there, but what you have now, 2 guys up front, you have more options to hit. And right when Powell was coming in the box, and he's making one run, Armenteros is trying to go another way.
As Ross mentioned, Giovanni Savarese said when he got the job that he was planning on playing primarily the 4-2-3-1 as Tesho Akindele coming forward. Now it's Acosta. It's over the bar. It was a good look for him. Primarily the 4-2-3-1, mostly because that's what the personnel, that's who was here, and that's what everybody's used to playing. But he wouldn't be afraid to change it up to experiment, both in-game and depending on a game-by-game basis. And this is one of the first times we're really seeing that.
Really
Here's
nice
a chance there for Dallas, yeah.
Really nice work by Tesho Akindele. kind of surprised to see him playing this long in the second half. He played a full 70 minutes yesterday, and Kellen Acosta giving that one a rip at the top of the box. And we talked about a little bit of nagging groin pain for him. It looks like he's maybe tweaked that just a little bit here, and not something that you want to see with Kellen Acosta getting some time both yesterday and today to really work his way back into this game form.
We talked about how good the first half would have made Oscar Pareja feel, how well those starters played heading into Wednesday's CCL match. This will maybe dampen that a little bit, seeing Kellen Acosta down
in a little bit of pain. And you wonder how severe in talking with some of the training staff, he was at a point where he wasn't really at risk of hurting anything further by playing. It was more of a little bit of discomfort when maybe he would do some stuff, and we'll have to wait and see how this affects that when the team gets back to Dallas. But definitely not something you want to see if you're Oscar Pareja, because you're hoping to have Kellen Acosta available on Wednesday against Taro FC.
Well, the Timbers have made 3 substitutions. They've swapped out their center back pairing. Bill Tuiloma and Julio Cascante have come on for Liam Ridgewell and Larry Smabiala. Also, Lawrence Olam has come out of the match. Andres Flores has come on. Looks like Flores will occupy. It'll be interesting to see where he occupies in that diamond. You would think probably if the Timbers stay with the diamond, he'll be on the left side. I should be corrected. Olam has stayed in the match. We're trying to get all these substitutions sorted out. Dallas has also made a substitution. Brandon Cervania, the homegrown signing, another Wake Forest kid, has come on for Acosta.
And this is part where Coach Savarese talked about the defensive mid stepping back in between the center backs. Get your fullbacks further up the pitch. That's what Lawrence Olam is doing.
It was Blanco that came out of the match for Flores. So Olam stays at the bottom of the diamond, and it looks like Flores and Paredes on either side. Here is Andres Flores. Former teammates with Jimmy Marr in goal for Dallas. Those guys, members of the New York Cosmos the past 5 seasons under Giovanni Savarese, had so much success at the NASL level, and they've come up to MLS just like their coach in the offseason.
Lots of friendly faces on both sides of the ball today.
Tesho Akindele wide to Chris Reeves. Oh, Pamikal almost was able to direct that on goal.
There's almost one from Pamikal where he didn't think he could get it, but threw the leg up anyways just to see, and made really good contact on it. Almost had a really nice chance.
Just interested to see that relationship between Adi and Armenteros. And when Adi's going in there to try and get on the ball to get the Timbers up the pitch, Armenteros, he's staying so wide off to the other side of the pitch, to the right wing. Now he starts to drift back in. That's going to be important with the Timbers play with a 2-prong striking attack, is that combination play, the relationship, how they complement one another with their running.
Here is Armenteros. He was offside.
Looked to me very tight on the offside. I thought he timed his run well. Bit of skill.
Looks like FC Dallas is going to make a couple substitutions. Jesus Ferreira and Francis Tuahene will come on. Ferreira's on for Coleman. And Tuahene for Lama, it appears. Tuahene, first-round draft pick, 4th overall. Dallas traded up $200,000 in general allocation money to Montreal to be able to pick the forward out of Michigan. And Jesus Ferreira, we talked about him about 15 minutes ago. Made his debut last year, scored a goal. 17 years old now, the son of an FC Dallas legend, former MLS MVP, David Ferreira.
Really good to see Francis Atuahene out here as well. He made his return to game action yesterday in the little scrimmage that they had, playing about 30 minutes, 45 minutes there, or 30, 40 minutes there, and just on one of the side fields here, but breaking or fracturing his ulna in his left arm during his debut, just a little scrimmage against the University of Tulsa, a week into preseason, really making a collision with the goalkeeper, going for goal. Been held out of preseason for a few weeks, so it's good to see him back. He's excited to be there. Still wearing a little bit of a minimal cast on his left arm, but fully healthy and ready to go and ready to make an impact on this team. He came on and had 2 goals yesterday. Really fast down that left side, really able to cut in and make some nice moves, exactly the style that Oscar Pareja likes to play.
Flores whistled for the foul. And Timbers will make a couple substitutions now. Zarek Valentin, Jack Barmby ready to come on. Valentin looks like will be for Alvis Powell at right back. And Diego Valeri coming out as well. Jack Barmby taking over at the number 10 role. So Barmby for Valeri, Valentin for Powell. That leaves Vitas and Adi. Rather, Adi is the only player who started this match. Vitas, the first guy subbed in. He came on at halftime. So a big run for Fernando Adi. Lawrence Olam as well. So Olam and Adi, the 2 guys who started this match, that are still in, getting 80 minutes plus.
The one there's that a product of the formation that Coach Savarese has gone to. He's liked the look of it. Maybe get a bit of information from the players as well. If they're happy enough staying on, the bodies feel good. As much as you look at the sports science numbers and you're going off that, you do have to take into account sometimes the feeling of players.
Especially as Portland transitions into these last few weeks is when you want to start getting these 90-minute performances and start getting guys up to full game speed and full game tempo.
Yeah, frequently you'll see teams right this next week kind of treat it like a game week, with the Timbers match on Saturday against a to-be-determined opponent being kind of a dress rehearsal for the regular season.
And that's just it. Physically, I don't think there's a whole lot difference between 80 minutes and 90 minutes, but mentally, seeing out a game, getting into those final minutes of a match, that's where the difference lies. Smart, very smart.
Paredes, Armenteros, get it over to Valentin.
They're intelligent players, the 2 of them. They see things differently than your average player. They see gaps, they see angles, and they got the technical ability to pull things off.
There's Armenteros turning around Reeves. Paredes wants it. I think that was going to Valentin. Paredes took it instead. Back to Armenteros. Now he gets it over to Valentin. Barmby overlapping. And the Timbers will win. They won't win a corner. The ball stayed in play. They get it back. Pressure from Valentin. Now Barmby. Good ball towards Adi, just over his head.
Good ball. A lot more fluid. We chatted to Coach Savarese before the match, and the fluidity is an area he wanted to work on. We're seeing that last 25 minutes. I'd have to say, Carter, that the Timbers have been in the dominance over FC Dallas.
Yeah, and you'd expect to see that with some of the younger guys coming on, getting a run out, trying to work up to this level. But this is just as big for them to get a feel, like we were talking about with Reto Ziegler and Anton Nedyalkov, get a feel for what MLS players look like, what they feel like, what the speed of the game is, so that when you're tossed into this situation come April, come May, you know you have a little bit of a picture of what you're dealing with.
Paredes wide to Valentin. Armenteros. Already a goal in his preseason debut. Gets it back from Valentin. Armenteros in the box, and Marr is able to recover.
Just so many numbers from the Timbers around the ball. The movement has been very good in this last period. You can see Armenteros just where he starts and where he ends up. Passes it, but he continues to move, and FC Dallas, they don't track him, and from there it's always difficult. There is a slight touch, recovering tackle to come in just to disallow that ball going across.
Adi trying to turn on Reeves. He wins a throw. That might be it for Fernando Adi, as Jeremy Ebobisi is with the 4th official. Each team will make a substitution now. For the Timbers, it's Adi coming off, Jeremy Bobasi coming on. And for FC Dallas, Paxton Pomykal comes off, Ima Tumasi comes on, their other first-round pick. He was 11th overall, their natural selection in the Super Draft.
I think we're going to see a switch from Dallas to 3 at the back with Tesho Akindele and Amir Sasaverovic playing a little more the wingback roles. This is how they finished yesterday's scrimmage with Jesus Ferreira playing kind of in an advanced role, but dropping into almost a number 10 role just a little bit. And then Francis Atuahane and Emma Tumasi up high, out wide for Dallas.
Here's Atuahane. Cervania. Wide to Akindele. Gets past Vitas. Olam deals with it. Lawrence Olam, last man standing from the starting lineup for the Timbers in this match. Here's Chris Reeves. Wins a corner. Jesus Ferreira will take the corner. Ja'Cory Hayes floats it to the back post. Tuiloma heading it clear. Cano will run it down. Armenteros. Sasaverovic does well to send it out for a throw. Final few minutes of the preseason for FC Dallas, who will fly back to Dallas and then on to Panama for first leg of their CCL matchup with Toro FC. One of a handful of MLS teams that kind of had a shorter runway, so to speak, in the preseason. Had to accelerate getting guys 90 minutes fit. Christian Paredes. Armenteros has Paredes with a lot of room in the box. Instead, floats it in. Barnby in a battle with Reeves.
What a ball. What a terrific ball from Armenteros. And just going by his body language right now, he's saying, where's the runs? And that's part of getting to know what players, your teammates, new faces are capable of. Later in the season, you see him get his little bit of space. You're going to gamble. You're going to get across the face of your defender to try and get on the end of the cross. But I've been impressed with Armenteros to start this. He's a willing runner. He's not just wanting to stay centrally, middle of the park, and wait for the ball to come to him. He's willing to go find the game.
Flores from behind on Akindele. Ja'Cory Hayes. Still Ja'Cory Hayes. He tries it from distance. Oh, it sneaks past Gleason, but wide of the net. I think caught Jake Gleason a little bit by surprise that he was going to hit it from there.
Ja'Cory Hayes, a true number 8 defensive midfielder, working his way up, taking maybe a little bit of a cue from Kellen Acosta getting up there and taking a shot on goal just wide. Really nice work from Hayes there, who's been asked to play in a little bit more of an advanced role at times throughout the preseason. has had his ups and downs with it, as any defending player will going forward, but really nice from Hayes there.
An interesting rookie year last year, made 2 starts, didn't make it past halftime in either. Subbed at halftime on March 11th, the match we've talked about a few times where early in the season Dallas was in the CCL, so a super young team going to Kansas City. And they got another start in September against the New York Red Bulls and played well, but 2 yellow cards in 37 minutes and sent off 37 minutes into his second MLS start.
In my eyes, the best player on the field for the opening half hour of that game, but playing a very physical style, gets an early yellow, and just one of those rookie learning moments where when you're playing with yellow, maybe you don't go in so hard on that second tackle where he got his second yellow card and got sent off. But a very strong performance, and really one of those games where you could see that he was ready for some MLS minutes, holding his own in just the 37 minutes that he did see.
Barmby, step over, tries to get it to Armenteros. Broken up by Reeves.
I think it's safe to say that this preseason match has served its purpose for both teams. You look at the Timbers and getting the amount of minutes for the starting 11, what would be thought of as a starting 11, guys getting on the pitch against some real full-on tough competition with FC Dallas, who are obviously geared up and ready to go on their fitness levels and the quality that they showed in the first half. Same for FC Dallas, Carter?
Yeah, absolutely. You really like to see everything kind of firing on all cylinders in that first half. A lot of the players ready to go, only playing 45 minutes, maybe as we talked about, knowing they're only playing 45, a little bit of that extra energy right off the get-go, and then some time for some of these depth players to continue to evaluate where their roles are with this team, what they can do, and how they fit in, and really get one last look at them, because preseason's over and it all starts 4 days from now.
Heavy legs, Lawrence Olam.
This could be the final move forward of this preseason match and of the preseason for FC Dallas. It's given away by Tua Hene. Rami Touchon will let the Timbers have a go, it looks like. Figueroa stays down. We play on.
Just see the centre back, Cascante, coming in. He's an interesting one for me. I think as a centre back, looks to have a little bit of nastiness in him, but what I like about his game is he's simple. Does a simple thing so well, consistently well from what I've seen.
Paredes combines with Vitas. Vitas is crossing. Bobasi! Oh, Cascante was there on the back post as well. Neither could put it on frame. We'll have a corner kick.
Good opportunity. Decent ball whipped in from Vitas. Bobasi is just trying to caress this ball. Absolutely knows where the goal is, but he's just trying to redirect it to the far stick.
Barmby's corner to the near post, headed clear, and that is it. In the final preseason match of 2018 for FC Dallas, they get a 2-1 win over the Portland Timbers, who have a couple weeks till their opener. Dallas, just a few days until they go down to Panama for the CCL. Timbers coaching staff exchanging pleasantries with FC Dallas's coaching staff. As you guys have said, this match serving its purpose for both teams. Dallas sees a first half brace from Maxi Arudi as their squad that likely will see the same 11, maybe not likely, but probably I'd say the same 11 starting on Wednesday down in Panama. I think will be pleased, Carter, with their performance in the first half.
Yeah, especially when you see how they play. I think if I'm Oscar Pareja, I like what I see, and I don't think you make any changes. I think that is likely your group going into Panama because of how well they all work together. Coming into the match, maybe some questions on a couple different positions, but when you see the product on the field, I have to like what I see over that first 45, and then as we talked about, seeing some of the depth players over the last 45.
Game ready, certainly look game ready, FC Dallas and the Timbers. I think it's a big step forward from what we saw Houston Dynamo. I thought they looked fitter, they looked more quality, and against a very, you would say, strong team with FC Dallas, obviously, with what's coming up next. And they started the stronger of the two teams. They're winning the ball back against the Timbers defense, and then Maxi Rudy showing what he's all about, scoring the goal. But the Timbers did continue the prod, Carter, but FC Dallas just so quick on the wings, and their movement as well looks so good.
So quick on the wings, and you like to see Michael Barrios picking up where he left off last year with 2 assists in this one. Maxi Rudy getting in goal form after only 1 goal over the course of the preseason, and then, you know, just like I talked about, the movement between everyone on the field, everyone getting on the same page.
You talk about movement, just the Timbers, their change to a diamond in the midfield, it reaped its benefits because we could see the openings, how overloaded they were in the middle of the park. Armenteros getting his goal, and they finished off the stronger of the two teams, but overall we saw a lot of faces, a lot of bodies. Very entertaining.
Well, this does it for the preseason for FC Dallas. They fly down to Panama for a match on Wednesday against Taro FC, a first leg of the round of 16 CCL matchup. Portland Timbers have a match on Wednesday right here in Tucson. Another preseason against New York Red Bulls. That will be basically the Red Bulls USL team, as New York, one of those teams, starting CCL play this week as well. They're down in Costa Rica. That is a 1 p.m. Pacific time start. It'll be streamed on timbers.com. The FC Dallas regular season opener in Major League Soccer, March 3rd. They host Real Salt Lake. The Portland Timbers regular season opener the next day, March 4th. They're at the LA Galaxy. For Carter Baum, for Ross Smith, for our entire crew here in Tucson, I'm Jake Sivan. Thanks so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Final score, FC Dallas 2, Portland Timbers 1.